This man just watched his entire world crumble in a matter of seconds. One moment he's the perfect killing machine, the next he's literally thrown out with the garbage. This is how it all began. Picture this, it's 1996, and a team of government agents walks into a hospital like they're shopping for groceries. These are children specifically chosen to become perfect soldiers, and the program wastes no time starting their psychological conditioning. From the moment these kids can walk, they're taught that weakness equals death. They watch animals tear each other apart so they become numb to violence. When these boys turn 12, the real horror begins. Miles of running every single day, perfect physical conditioning, zero tolerance for failure, and just to drive the point home, when one exhausted kid falls behind during a run, a truck simply runs him down. No ceremony, no explanation. This is Todd's childhood. This is how he learns that mercy is weakness and weakness is death. By 17, these boys have become exactly what the program intended. Human weapons with special tattoos marking them as combat ready. Todd emerges as the best of his class, and over the next 19 years, he doesn't fail a single mission. He travels the world, leads teams through brutal battles, and kills without hesitation or remorse. He's so dedicated to mission success that he'll murder innocent civilians just to reach his target. Todd has never experienced normal human interaction, never felt genuine emotion, never questioned an order. In 2036, a new player enters the game. Colonel Macomb arrives at their base with a proposal that makes Church's blood run cold. Macomb has a new unit of genetically engineered soldiers, superhuman warriors who make Church's battle hardened veterans look like children playing with toy guns. Church isn't having it. 20 years of brutal training, countless successful missions, and proven combat effectiveness should count for something. So he proposes a competition to settle the debate once and for all. Traditional soldiers versus genetic engineering, experience versus raw enhancement. Macomb calls forward Kane, his premier genetic soldier, and the demonstration begins immediately. Kane's precision with weapons is flawless. His strength is inhuman. So Todd and two other veterans climb onto steel chains to face Kane in aerial combat. What happens next is a massacre. Kane moves like a force of nature, killing both of Todd's companions with brutal efficiency and throwing their bodies to the ground like discarded toys. Todd manages to fight longer, even injuring Kane badly enough to cost him an eye, but eventually Kane throws him down onto the pile of corpses below. Macomb has won his competition, but he's furious that Kane allowed himself to be injured at all. In his world, even a single scar represents imperfection. Church accepts the inevitable. His program is officially disbanded, and while the older soldiers won't be executed, they're done with active duty. Macomb orders the dead bodies thrown out with the regular garbage, and Todd, still alive but unconscious, gets tossed onto a waste disposal ship heading for a planet called Arcadia. When Todd wakes up during the journey, he experiences something completely foreign to fear. For the first time in his life, he doesn't know where he is or what's happening to him. The ship's hatch opens to dump its cargo, and Todd desperately tries to hold on, but he falls with the rest of the garbage onto the planet's surface below, eventually noticing people in tattered clothes moving through the debris. He follows them, but a massive sandstorm forces him to take shelter. When it passes, Todd discovers what these survivors have built. A small colony constructed entirely from salvage materials and ship parts. It's not much, but it's home to maybe 50 people who found a way to live with dignity in the middle of nowhere. Todd tries to sneak closer, but the wind betrays him. He falls, hits his head, and passes out while a group of children stare down at him. The colonists debate what to do with this stranger. Nobody new has arrived on Arcadia in years, and Todd's soldier tattoos make him particularly suspicious. But their leader decides to help him, assigning a man named Mace to keep watch while Mace's wife Sandra tends to Todd's injuries. They have a young son named Nathan who's curious about the stranger, but his parents keep him at a safe distance. When Todd recovers enough to join the family for meals, he's completely out of his element. He watches them laugh together, share stories, show affection, all the human behaviors that were systematically beaten out of him as a child. He doesn't know how to respond to kindness, doesn't understand casual conversation, doesn't even know how to eat without focusing on pure efficiency. The other colonists are wary of Todd's silence, his intense eating habits, and those unmistakable military tattoos. When someone finally asks about his background, Todd explains simply that he was replaced by a better soldier. The honesty earns him some sympathy, and gradually the community begins accepting him. Sandra takes on the project of teaching Todd basic life skills, cooking, cleaning, gardening. Through these lessons, she explains how the colony came to exist. These people weren't originally refugees, they were travelers whose ship broke down and crash-landed on Arcadia 3 years ago. Help never came, but Sandra doesn't mind. Nobody bothers them here, and they've built something peaceful together. Todd's education in humanity continues when Sandra teaches him to plant seeds in their garden. Then a snake appears, and Sandra kills it instantly, explaining that one bit Nathan once and left him sick for months. The boy recovered, but he can't speak anymore because of the venom. During a salvage expedition, Todd gets his first chance to prove his worth to the community in a positive way. The men work in teams, connected by chains to avoid getting lost in the frequent sandstorms. When a particularly violent storm hits, one of the salvagers gets caught in the wind and dragged towards some dangerous machinery. Todd joins the effort, and his enhanced strength makes the difference. He saves the man's life, though when he picks up a dropped weapon during the rescue. The colonists quickly ask for it back. They're grateful for his help, but they're still not ready to trust him with armaments. Life in the colony starts feeling almost normal. Todd works salvage during the day and helps Sandra with chores in the evening. He's so focused on watching her work one night that he cuts his finger and doesn't even notice until she bandages the wound. When Sandra asks about his soldier life, Todd explains that he was always under strict discipline. The honesty moves her, and she gives him a comforting hug, another completely new experience for him. Then Christmas arrives, and the colony throws a celebration. Todd's doing well with the social interaction until some party crackers go off. The sound triggers massive PTSD flashbacks, images of brutal training, violence, death, and the systematic destruction of his childhood. Terrified of what he might do, Todd retreats to the roof and watches the celebration from a distance. The next day, Todd tries to work through his trauma by punching a training bag, but the physical exertion only brings back more memories. He remembers being forced to kill a child during training, remembers the endless brutality of his conditioning. When one of the colonists approaches to give him a Christmas gift, Todd's still lost in his flashbacks. He sees an enemy instead of a friend and nearly kills the man before snapping back to reality. The situation gets worse when Todd tries to teach Nathan how to kill a snake. The boy freezes in fear, so Todd catches the snake himself and encourages Nathan to try again. But Sandra and Mace arrive at that moment, kill the snake, and scold Todd for putting their son in danger. That's the final strike. The colony that was starting to accept him is now afraid of him again. They tell Todd he'll never fit in, that he's too dangerous to keep around, and they exile him from their community. Todd gathers his few possessions and walks away, and for the first time in his life he cries. He doesn't understand the emotion, but he can't stop it. But here's where Todd's training and observation pays off. Shortly after his exile, a snake gets into Mace and Sandra's bedroom while they're sleeping. When it's about to bite Mace, Nathan appears and kills the snake exactly the way Todd taught him. Mace realizes that Todd was trying to prepare his son for the dangers of their world, not hurt him. Mace rushes out to find Todd hiding in the garbage dumps and apologizes for the misunderstanding. He's about to invite Todd back to the colony when they spot something terrifying: a military ship descending toward their settlement. Todd immediately recognizes it as one of Macom's vessels and grabs Mace, pulling him toward cover. The ship disgorges vehicles, soldiers and equipment, including Kane, still bearing the scars from his fight with Todd. The colony raises alarms and takes defensive positions, but they're hopelessly outgunned. During the chaos, Mace gets hit by an explosion. Todd drags him to safety and tries to treat his wounds, but it's too late. Mace dies asking Todd to protect his family. Meanwhile, back at headquarters, Church gets reports of the massacre and prepares his old soldiers for potential deployment. But Macomb orders the attack to continue. The colony's leader tries to negotiate with the soldiers, but she's shot dead the moment she shows herself. The colonists return fire with their few weapons, but they're no match for military-grade equipment and enhanced soldiers. The situation becomes desperate as the attackers use flamethrowers to burn families alive. That's when Todd makes his entrance. He crashes through a roof and kills one of the flame soldiers, then gathers weapons from another who's chasing Sandra and the children. Todd grabs the soldier's communicator and sends a growl through the channel, a psychological warfare tactic that lets the enemy know they're now facing a different kind of opponent. Macomb realizes something has changed and, on Church's advice, orders a tactical retreat. Once the soldiers withdraw, the colonists tend to their wounded while Sandra mourns Mace's death. Todd confirms the loss, then gathers every weapon he can find and paints his face for war. The perfect soldier is about to remind everyone exactly what 20 years of brutal training can accomplish. Todd's counter-attack is a masterpiece of guerrilla warfare. He approaches the soldiers' landing zone in complete stealth, using the terrain and his tactical knowledge to turn the tables. He shoots one of their vehicles to create confusion, then begins eliminating soldiers one by one from the shadows. He throws explosives through the doors to kill the drivers. But Kane is still alive, still fighting, and still causing damage to the colony. Todd steals a truck and rams Kane's vehicle, forcing the enhanced soldier out for a final confrontation. Kane immediately injects himself with some kind of medical enhancement, and the two super soldiers face off in what becomes an epic battle. They fight through the ruins of the colony. When Kane goes for a weapon on the ground, Todd uses the distraction to seriously wound him with a helicopter blade. Then he finishes Kane with his bare hands, finally getting revenge for the humiliation that started this whole journey. The battle ends when Church's old soldiers arrive. They don't attack Todd because they still respect him as their former general. But Macomb, realizing he's lost his entire enhanced unit, orders the ship to leave without the older soldiers. When Church protests, Macomb kills him immediately. That's Macomb's final mistake. The older soldiers enter the ship, capture Macomb, and bring him to Todd. The sight of the blood-covered warrior terrifies Macomb so much that he wets himself while begging for mercy. Todd doesn't give him any. Macomb and his advisors get thrown out of the ship and left on Arcadia, where a bomb eliminates them permanently. The ship takes off with the surviving colonists aboard, heading for a better world where they can rebuild their lives. In the final scene, Nathan asks Todd to pick him up. As Todd lifts the boy who can't speak but showed incredible bravery, he experiences genuine affection for the first time in his life. The perfect soldier has finally learned what it means to be human. If you've made it this far without smashing that subscribe button, congrats. You officially have more self-control than I do at a buffet. But seriously, hit subscribe. I waste my life watching movies so you don't have to. It's the least you could do.